We have quorum with Sarah online, and I would like to ask Tom to read the Native American land acknowledgement, please.
Today, we want to begin our meeting and our school year by acknowledging that we gather as David Douglas School District on the traditional land of the Multnomah, Wasco, Cowlitz, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Bands of Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molalla, and many other tribes, past and present, who made their homes along the Columbia and Willamette rivers, and honoring with gratitude that the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. We further want to again acknowledge the impact of the forced removal, violence, and attempted erasure of the lives and legacies of Indigenous people, past and present, and to commit to creating an educational environment that honors Indigenous history and contributions and encourages the continual pursuit of better stewardship of the land we inhabit as well.
Thank you. All right, so our next agenda item is election of board leadership for 2026-2027, and we will begin with nominations for board chair.
I nominate Jose for board chair.
Okay. We have Sarah. Sarah, if you have any nominations. If not, we can vote. Oh, we have Sarah online. Sarah, I'm waiting for you to, we can hear from you so I can close nominations if, or offer up the space for you to have a nomination. We've got, okay. Welcome. We are taking nominations for board chair. Jose has been nominated, but we haven't closed nominations yet. Okay. If you'd like to. All right, well then we'll close nominations and begin voting on Jose for chair.
Ender for Jose.
Stevenson for Gamera Jordan.
Jordan for Jose. I'm so confused. But yes, Jose.
Okay, Sarah? All right, Franklin for Jose. So that, I'm sorry, it's a little awkward because I'm still waiting on Sarah, but I think we have majority vote for Jose for chair. Who is not here, so now we'll vote for vice chair, and then, okay, do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'd be honored to nominate Director Ender.
I second that. I nominate Ender as well.
Okay, great. All right, we'll start with you, Director Jordan.
Jordan for Ender.
Stevenson for Ender.
Ender for Ender.
And Franklin for Ender. Okay, so that, are we all correct, Lori, in our voting? Yeah, Sarah hasn't voted on either one though, right? Right.
Yeah, I saw you put in the chat too. She was talking earlier, so I'm not quite sure.
On the record, she has a history of Zoom issues.
All right, well, I'm going to hand over then to Director Ender as vice chair to run the rest of the meeting. Is that right, Lori, or we still need to wait for Sarah? Well, yes,
Technically have a quorum.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
So we can turn it
Okay,
to-
all right.
Hi, this is Sarah. I joined by my phone. My computer got knocked out. Or I'm not able to join through the computer, so I'm here.
Sarah, could you give us your vote on vice chair and, well, first chair, the nomination was for Jose. And we could take your vote on that?
Yes.
Can we have your vote on chair for 2026-27? The nomination was Jose.
Heather Franklin.
I wasn't nominated. It's Jose is the only nomination.
Jose.
Thank you.
Georgeson.
Okay, and then second for vice chair, we have Director Inder nominated for vice chair.
Director Ender is my vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. So carrying on. We have public comment, so welcome. All right. So we have Kyle Riggs for public comment. Kyle, the floor is yours.
And Laura, it's RIGGS, if you didn't know.
Yes, I
right?
do.
Just follow the rules, right? So first, it's great to be here. It's been a long time. Hello. I know I only have 3 minutes, and so I am going to burn some of it. Florence, thank you. Again, I'm telling you, if we hadn't met, I still would have retired at 48, but I wouldn't be having this much fun. So I'm having a blast. Thank you again. Also, just so you know, since I found out about it, I have not used a single other icebreaker other than do you wash your feet? So it's good stuff. All right, team, you'll have to ask her. It's a great icebreaker. It's really weird, but it definitely breaks the ice. Okay, so I apologize. I'm taking my time. I read the data report, right? And usually I just read your stuff. I don't usually watch the board meetings anymore. But I read the data report, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch that one. So I watched the repeat, or the recorded version, and I had some noticings and some wonderings. I went back, and I watched the previous 3 data reports. And then I went and watched some ELA mid-year. I watched a great one, November of 23 and March of 25. Great work going on. Don't think that I'm saying anything different, right? I hear all the reports, all the plans, everything, but you're stuck. You're stuck. You're not seeing the growth that you want. You're not seeing the stretch growth, which means that in turn you're not seeing the test results that you want. And when we say test results, we mean student success, right? Tests are tests. I do see like lots of celebration, and it's fantastic, and I mean it, right? Like the Gilbert Park thing, right? 87%, fantastic. Was it Menlo Park, 4th grade? I think it was. Crushing it, right? So many great things. I don't know if you know, I have a hobby. I'm a teacher. We are seeing different results, just putting it plainly. I am seeing the stretch growth. I'm seeing people come in with kindergarten level and leaving at mid-3rd grade. I'm seeing people come in. My class, their composite DIBELS was intensive support, right? And if you don't know exactly what that means, toss a rock at district office. You'll find 5 people that'll tell you that it's not fun. But then, we crushed, and I mean crushed, the state ELA test. So there's some barrier, and I don't know exactly what it is. I love where you're going, like the things you got coming up: content alignment calendar, high dosage tutoring, math lab, middle school. Because 69%, right? I don't have to tell you. Disciplinary cross content literacy, which is that's a mouthful. But sure, right? These are great things. So I would just say, and I've eclipsed my time. if you believe in those and that's going to work, go get them, right? Because great work's going on. I love it. If you think in 2 years you're going to be showing data reports like you've shown for the last 4 years, just give me a call, all right? Come see. I laugh every time I see you in the promo video. It's awesome. You know it is. But there are other places that do other things. And it's not me, it's a system, right? And when I say it's simple, I don't mean it's easy. Easy is a degree of difficulty. Simple is an organizational thing. Guys, I got lucky, and I fell into a system, and it's really good. And I'm a probationary 2 teacher. I'm crushing it, right? And it's not me, it's the system. So if this, like all these notes that I have, from watching your efforts, if that's going to do it, if this is, we've found it, and we're gonna mount the hill right there, and it's going to be great, go to town. If, as you're doing this, and you're thinking, that traction isn't showing up, you're doing a lot of the same things. You should know, right? As I found out just today, that's awesome. You're not doing them in the same way. And that's okay. We don't have to do the things the same way. But I feel for you. I feel for the teachers. I know they're working hard, right? I know the admin are killing themselves, busting their butts. And you're just not hitting it yet. So if all that buildup over the last 4 years has been so that now, we're going to start seeing the stretch go. Because, please, nobody expects next year, right? That's what I'm saying, like in 2 years. If you don't feel you're going to see it, I would just say, as somebody who has been here, who has lived literally this, somebody who has taught in these buildings, somebody who has worked in these buildings, I'm living this other life, and it totally works. So, great work. I love it, especially the celebrations. They're fantastic. The things that the coaches are bringing to you, it's all great. I also am going to miss Zimmerman, right? Nobody sells that report like she does. She did not use one negative adjective or verb. It was amazing, right? Fantastic. So anyway, go get them, right? And certainly always, as always, thank you for all that you do. It is appreciated. And if I can help, just let me know. All right?
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public comment who didn't get to sign in? All right, then we're going to move on to DDEA comment. Did anyone? Nope. Okay. And I believe we are not going to have OSEA Chapter 40 comment today. Then we're moving on to consent agenda. So before there's any discussion, I'm looking for a motion around the consent agenda.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Do I have a
Second.
Seconded. All right, any discussion of the consent agenda? Sarah, I'm taking extra time in case you're trying to get off mute or anything. Also good practice because we're going to vote soon. So if you can indicate you can hear us and speak, this would be a good time. All right, well, hearing no discussion, I'll go ahead and, yeah, we could just call her and put her on the phone. Yeah. All right, we're taking a moment to see if we can get Sarah on audio somehow.
I'm happy to call her or whatever.
Hi. I can hear. It's a little bit mumbled though.
We'll try to enunciate. So we are at consent agenda. There's been a motion and a second, and no discussion. I just wanted to check if there was any discussion on your end that you wanted to add to the consent agenda topic.
Absolutely none on my end. I
Okay.
approve. Epstein, aye.
Great, we'll start with that. So Epstein, aye. We'll go on to Jordan.
Jordan, I.
Franklin, I.
Stevenson, aye.
Ender, aye. All All right, the consent agenda has been approved. Now we're going to go to bond update. Thank you. So we've got the Bond Oversight Committee.
Well, good evening. Adam Cormack, RNC Management. Thanks again for the opportunity to be here tonight. I do not think we obviously do not have any Bond Oversight Committee representing tonight. But and Derek Morgan, project manager, is here. He's going to give the update tonight. So thank you again for the opportunity to be here. I guess I will just really quick say, in general, things are going really well out there, and we're wrapping up what is our bond promises. I think there'll be a handful of smaller projects next year, but in general, wrapping up a lot of the bond promises all this summer. So take it away, Derek.
Thanks, Adam. Good evening, everybody. I guess we'll get started on this. So go through high level what we have here. Program budgets generally remain on target. Completed projects are currently trending under budget. We are obviously very much so in the midst of reconciling some of those, but everything is looking positive. We are working to return the identified savings to a program contingency. That process will continue through this year, and then we'll have a very good idea of everything around December, January. Summer 2025 projects are substantially complete. As noted, there is commissioning happening at some of the schools still. Because we're bringing cooling into the buildings, a lot of that commissioning can't happen until the weather warms up. So West Palhurst, for example, has had a few commissioning items linger there. We're still trying to make sure that system is 100% dialed for the end user, your maintenance team, just so that it is what should be expected by the community and the students and staff. All the summer 2026 projects are underway. We've used a combination of CMGC and pre-qualified design bid build delivery methods, just like last summer. Let's see. Focus areas, just staying on top of things for the schedule for the summer. Obviously students are gone, staff is gone. We have a handful of weeks already left until they're back. So the teams are working tenaciously to meet all the goals. We are continuing to work on the HVAC and PSEF grant coordination. That has been a fun adventure alongside Pat, working with PSEF to make sure we're correctly doing everything to ensure those dollars are captured for the district. Communications, ongoing communications with the DDSD communications team. We're meeting with Ide and Julio on Monday to go through the sites, get some imagery of everything happening now, because everything's torn apart. It's really good for just, community awareness and everything. And then obviously we'll return at the end of the summer when everything looks beautiful and shiny. As usual, the attachments can be reviewed. They were sent in. So we can go to the next page now, if you would. David Douglas High School. So every portion of the high school work is now substantially complete. Right now, we're working through a heavy final budget reconciliation, primarily with the CMGC Pence construction, with the goal of having that mostly wrapped up by the end of this month. And then let's see. Most of the closeout is already wrapping up, so really it's just this budget reconciliation and warranty items as they come up over the next year. So you can proceed, thank you. Okay, Mill Park and Lincoln Park. So we're doing another round of exciting HVAC projects, as we all know. Lincoln Park and Lincoln Park do have some differences. They're generally mostly the same projects as far as the end user experience in the building, since they are sister schools and almost identical. So at Mill Park, we do have a potential need to increase the budget. This is a result of the discovery that we have additional structural strengthening needed for the solar array that's going on that roof. Currently, that work is underway in the classroom wings, which holds 84% of the array system, the remaining 16% being on the gym. The work in the gym was so complex that it is currently it's not occurring right now, and it's being looked at for happening at a later date, possibly summer 2027, possibly under the same CMGC. That's very much so in the works right now, understanding that and defining how we're going to go about that. Let's see. Mill Park has its chillers, which are going to provide heating and cooling to the building. Lincoln Park, the chillers have been delayed. The current understanding is that someone probably came in and purchased them from Jetson out from under us, which is very unfortunate, but when these big tech companies get involved, there's not much loyalties out there. However, the team has a firm plan in place to make sure that there's heating come September, August, for those cool nights. Cooling will not be in place until the unit arrives, which is tentatively in September, October timeframe, which we will not be utilizing the cooling at that point anyways, and that commissioning will happen next year. So there's no concerns right now on if there will be heat in the buildings and ventilation. That is going to, it's ensured that that will happen. It just will look slightly different as far as how it works behind the scenes, but for the end user, they should not feel that difference besides from the lack of cooling, which is being communicated with the admin, and they're communicating to the staff accordingly. The Lincoln Park one is a late breaking news. On Gilbert Park, we have known that the chillers are going to be delayed for many months now. The admin has already made staff aware cooling won't be there. Heating will also be in place at that school when the students and staff return. Right now, that chiller is also expected around mid to late September. And so there will be some activity happening at those sites. We'll probably have a fenced-in area. This will all be coordinated with the admin there, and everyone will know. Same precautions we would take when we do early construction, like at Miller Gilbert Park this year.
Derek, we don't expect this to impact start of school.
No, I do not. As of now, and our goal, like similar to last year, will be at the end of this month, we will have a firm understanding of where we're at and where we're going to be at 3 to 4 weeks from then, and we'll be providing that update for you guys to make an educated decision on that, informed decision. So at this time, though, we're not seeing that that's going to happen. Earl Boyles is a smaller scope, but still important. We're doing the secure vestibule there. Everything's on track there. It's getting the intercom PA upgrades. It's going well. So we can proceed. So Menlo and Ventura and Ron are all getting secure vestibule upgrades. Everything is going well there. We've had a couple small surprises here and there, but nothing that isn't generally expected and why the contingencies exist on the projects. No concerns with completion before start of school. The roofing at Ron Russell is extensive, but it actually might get done sooner than we were thinking. The only thing that likely will not be 100% done is the solar, and that involves PGE and firing things up. It'll be kind of backdoor behind the scene thing, so no one really will know much as far as impacts to the staff and students. Intercom and clocks is underway. The GB Manchester team is started on site this last Monday, installing all the parts and smarts at all the schools. So those are starting to get installed and fired up, and each of those schools will receive the same training the previous schools have received, and I'm sure they will enjoy the new systems.
And that'll be the last of the school projects as well, so that'll wrap up all of them.
Yep. North Palhurst is underway. They're going to be done earlier than the end of summer, early August, mid-August. So nothing of concern happening there. I think that might wrap us up. Any questions or comments?
Maybe we should share the news we got today.
On the South Pal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got some news on the freezer today. Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So South Palhurst is getting a new your district freezer, the freezer that serves all your schools. The plan is to replace that freezer, as I'm thinking everyone's aware. And it's been a touch and go thing because the city has been very difficult, as you can imagine. They are now treating it like it is a new building entirely. They are looking at it, driveway expansions, anything that they can. And so today we learned that we will have to go through a design review. This is late breaking for you too, sorry. Design review land use process. And what that means is it's going to be at least 120, 150 days before we get a permit. And what that means is we can't install the freezer before mid-October, which is what we were working with the nutrition services on. This is, and like fresh is in a few hours. So there's lots to talk about here. We have options of purchasing the freezer now and storing it with the contractor. So there's lots to be discussed, reviewed. We haven't given up entirely on figuring out if we can get away from the design review decision, but it's unlikely the city will deviate from that
Yeah. And
requirement.
the architects completed, was it an appeal process? And to get points, is that what that was?
Yes,
And they decided that some of the items that we shared with them that we thought were eligible on their list, they decided were not. And so,
yes, it's actually trees. So trees are a big thing for the city of Portland. And the original understanding was we had certain trees that were a certain diameter and were a certain type of tree. Well, once an arborist got more involved, we discovered they're an inch or two under this diameter, and they're not a native tree, some of them, which, believe it or not, can push the whole project into a design review process. So, again, we're not done fighting that fight, but the city does have requirements on permitting and planning, and it is hard to get around them, as we've learned.
so two things there, delays usually mean increased costs. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of the potential for both of those.
So I've recently learned about a spite wall. And is this out of scope of a spite wall? And if you don't know what a spite wall is, I'm happy to explain what a spite wall is. I find it very fascinating, but I've been driving past the old Burgerville at Powell and 82nd, and they tore it all down except for like a 10 by 10 cinder block wall. I was like, why the heck would they do that? I learned it's called a spite wall to get around permitting snafus, because they can call it a remodel or a renovation instead of a brand new building. So I'm very fascinated why this freezer, which is, I'm assuming the same structure, just a new chiller, or am I misunderstanding?
No, it's a new structure and
Okay.
it's larger.
Okay.
You actually have heaving, the earth is heaving beneath the freezer. So the whole thing has to be removed and then probably excavated 10, 15, 20 feet down, depending on how frozen the ground is. So it's very extensive. So there's not an option to leave a portion of it for that.
I bet there is.
I mean, I will take that to the team and we'll run with it where we
I'll
can.
take it back to Doug and see
Yeah.
if we can get a post or something in there.
And you can go see it. They're building a Panda Express there, attached to this stupid cinder block wall from the old Burgerville that burnt. And it's even the wall that caught on fire, which is even more mind-boggling to me, because they had a dumpster fire against that wall, and we'll just leave it and attach it to the Panda Express.
I think the issue with this is you have to remove the structure and redo the foundation. You can't leave a wall necessarily, but
The entire structure?
we'll chase it. Maybe we can leave a small bit of it, a piece of the concrete. I don't know. We'll figure out what the how far we can go with that. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we found out that the warehouse was 19 feet 6 from the other building, and it was supposed to be 20, so they could have come back and told us we had to put in additional fire barrier on the warehouse. So they did okay the 19.
They did grant that. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, where do we push?
They're also not gonna make us move your driveways were 3 feet too close, your aprons up the road, so they have granted the appeal on that as well, but they're only gonna do so much. In planning is the department we're gonna be running into, and they've been the most difficult department across the board on all the projects. And
We're just learning about this. I'm just learning about this, but we'll leverage what we can and we'll push and think outside the box and be creative and do what we can. But, we are a public entity and you need to follow some of those guidelines, et cetera, et cetera. So,
So I just have one follow-up. Pat asked Mike, and Pat and I have gone back and forth quite a bit on this, just timeline. And I know the confidence, and it can only be so confidence because I know there's curveballs, but just that reality of we're, getting to the point where we're checking daily. We're getting to the point where we, maybe overreact as far as communication. So I heard by the end of July, and it's kind of what Pat and I talked about as well, that if we have any concerns at all that we might not hit timeline, we want to start communicating to our community, to our catchment area, just to let them know they have possible alternative plans, kind of that whole thing. So I know we're on the same page there. We've had conversations. The second thing is just curiosity. I know some of these chillers won't be in. You talked about that, explained that. Pat's updated me on that. So will there be impact to construction, schools going on now? Let's say we do get them in October and we're getting them in. We'll be able to do that though. We'll be able to do that safely. We'll be able to, okay, perfect.
Yeah, it'll, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. We'll have fenced off areas that we'll coordinate with your admin.
Right.
Just like we did with the early work.
Yeah.
So we will, it'll look very similar to the early work.
Got it.
Fenced off areas, everyone stays in here, students stay out.
It's doable.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With the freezer situation, where we'll have freezer trucks, is that what you were saying? Like temporary?
So they're like a freezer pod, is my
Like
understanding.
Pod.
giant container, yeah, an 8 by 40-foot container, a few of them.
Refrigerated.
Based on nutrition services needs, food services.
And how much does like having these temporary add, just in kind of magnitude of
Right
cost?
now, the cost I'm looking at are 15 to 20 grand for 3 months, for all three of them total. So it's not
Not wild.
not
Yeah.
wild, no. And it's those are within the budget that was created for the project currently. Now, if we were to look at having to extend them out and do this, it still would be within that. We'd be okay.
And when you were talking about buying the freezer in advance, is that out of concern for the same thing with the AC, like that it could not be available?
More on the freezer itself is more escalation costs, inflation. Can we weigh out escalation versus storage costs?
Right.
And maybe the contractor doesn't even charge a storage cost because they want to stay a partner on the project. So that's what that's for, is safe, because you never know. I mean, you could get a 10, 15, 20% hike.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of ground to tell them no because of what the city's doing to us right now. So
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Pat.
Chalk it up for another opportunity, huh, Pat?
Anything else? I'm looking at you, Sarah.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
I don't know a lot about permitting, but with the city, is there something that we could do as citizens of the city and advocate with my city councilor, or why is this department so difficult? Do I need to complain to someone?
So it's the thing is, we want to be partners with the city as much as we also want them to bend where we want them to bend to help us be as successful as we can for your community and your taxpayers. So it's hard to know when is the right time to go and make comment versus not. Because if it goes somewhere and it creates change, that's great. But if it doesn't, it might create a roadblock. And so I don't really know when the right time is. I would say that after we're all done, though, it would not hurt if it was reviewed and brought to the city's attention, just the things that the hurdles we ran into over the course of the last few years.
The numerous bike lockers. Ken, wasn't there a committee or a group that was supposed to work on streamlining?
I don't know about a committee, but it has been conversation at the city level where they ask for input, and just so the board members know, I have had conversations, when we do have those times where we meet with council members or just have conversation, and there's a typical question, what can we do to help? Well, did you know? And we've shared when it's been bumpy or it's been difficult, and I don't know how much impact that's had or not, because I don't know behind the scenes if maybe we've got, you put in the right pile or not. I don't know, but we definitely have leveraged that where we can, all the way up to the point of we haven't got to the point where like in a formal complaint letter or anything like that. But we definitely have shared. It seems like that we are partners. It's the city of Portland. We're in the city of Portland. We're the same. So an analogy I've used before, kind of Home Depot goes up in 3 weeks. Somehow they get all the permitting and everything, and they're up, and nothing against Home Depot, I'm making that up. But some commercial properties kind of sometimes, right? And
A Panda Express.
We somehow seem like we're held to different I don't know. So anyway, but we do continue to ask those questions and ask for support where we can, definitely. And there is, in general, kind of that idea is how does Portland get better and be better partners, as Pat's saying. I don't know exactly where that is or where it's going, but it's been conversation.
In response, if I may, to part of what you said, I think part of the difference between general commercial like Panda Express or Home Depot is they have a lot of money and they just say, okay, we'll do it. What do we got to do to get done and start making our revenue? Whereas the design team under you guys and everyone you hire, they push to try and not pay for the things that really do nothing for your students and staff. So there's a little bit more pushback on this in this sector because of that. Whereas those guys, they just want to start making their profit, and we have to think about your guys' budget, and I don't think the city cares that much. So, yeah.
I think it would be, I don't know if this is already going to happen, but when the bond work is closed out, to have a debrief. I would find that interesting of the roadblocks or what could be better next time.
Yeah, and we would be happy to highlight several of the things that have occurred that have delayed things or cost money where they shouldn't have once we're all said and done with this.
Yeah, I'm curious if there can be some kind of letter drafted that I can sign on to and submit to my city councilor. Because I don't know the history of all of the, difficulty, but
With the design team and the district on crafting some language, why do you feel like it's not necessary? If that can help.
oh, I mean just like a historical overview of the roadblocks and bumps so that I have some history when I do speak to someone that might be able to
we're
advocate for us.
We will do that. I think we'll also hit on that the city's been a great partner on a lot of things too. So it goes both ways, too.
That would be great too.
We learned a lot the first year of this bond, and we took a step back, and we always take an approach with every jurisdiction that we work with of you're a partner, and we need for us to be successful in this, we need your support. And so we took that same approach. We had some bumpy roads on the first year that we identified, we need to get permits in earlier so that they're reviewed and approved. And by our target was instead of getting a permit by May or June, we were getting a permit by March or April. And I'm not saying we always did that. So we would be happy to put together a document that identifies a lot of those, but a lot of those are going to be some positive feedback for the city.
Yeah.
Because there's some challenges and some frustrations for sure, but they have been a good partner on some other areas too. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a pass at that and work with Pat and Lance and the team to kind of craft something. So.
And I think I'd be interested in having that be like a directed board action to appoint Muriel to follow up on this and bring back any like official action that we'd want to take as a board, but just so you're not going rogue.
Yeah. I was thinking of myself as like citizen of the city, but yes.
But it'd be cool to have the force of the board behind
Yeah, the
you,
board
if
can,
that's something
yeah.
the board could agree on.
I'll
So,
bring it back.
Thank you. Sarah, anything? Just give her a moment. I saw you on mute, but we can't hear you. So we're going to head on to superintendent evaluation tool. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sophia, sorry, I unmuted the wrong thing. But I would also appreciate the historical context for our experience with the city, and I appreciate the partners that are helping us improve our schools.
All right, thanks, Sarah, and thank you, Adam and Derek, again. So this next item on the agenda is superintendent evaluation tool. As background, this board delegated to three of us, Sarah, Muriel, and Althea, to look into what is our process for superintendent evaluation and what tool do we use. So today we've done some work and we brought back to you a consolidated tool for kind of public, the public eye as well as board consideration. What we'll be asking in the end is in August, we'd like the board to officially approve and adopt a tool, superintendent evaluation tool. So between now and today's discussion and that time is our opportunity to make changes, amend, take back your ideas and rework anything. Muriel and Sarah, you can always jump in, but I'll just keep going. So what's on the screen here is the tool itself. So what we've done is we've taken the OSBA's performance standards, of which they had 8, and the pillars from our district strategic plan, of which there are 5, and we tried to blend them together so that we could have a more consolidated superintendent evaluation tool that wasn't 8 standards, but also, to the extent we could, aligned with the pillars that were just identified in the strategic plan. So that's what you have in front of you. I'm just going to go read through not the indicators. The indicators here are in blue with the bullet points. Those would be what we're actually, what we would grade the superintendent on. So they would have some kind of value and then be added up. The tool is such that it would be like a survey tool, something that would be given to both the board as well as possibly other non-board folks within the district and outside the district to be determined. So I'm not going to read the bullet points, but I'll just go for the big ticket items here. So number 1 is culturally responsive instruction and inclusive district culture. And you can see the strategic plan pillars that seem to align under that standard. Number 2 is ethics and professional norms. And then we will scroll down if we can. Number 3 is visionary district leadership and communication and community relations. I see you thinking, Thomas, so just hold that thought. Number 4 is policy, governance, and advocacy. Number 5 is effective organizational and financial management. That is all. There are 5. Down below, we'll hold at the process too. Down below, if you could scroll a bit. So right here, we wanted to make sure that you had a context for what we would use this for. So a little bit of a timeline process below here. First, we'd ask for the adoption of the evaluation tool in August. We'd propose a goal setting meeting with the superintendent and board chair and vice chair is what that would probably read in mid-August. At that meeting, that could be when goals are identified for the superintendent specifically outside of these metrics, as well as the folks who are identified for superintendent 360 review. So using this tool for folks outside of the board, whether they be in district or outside of the district. 3, we'd have quarterly check-ins in mid-November, again with the superintendent, chair, and vice chair of the board. And 4, we've got activate the evaluation tool for the board and any 360 review participants. So that would be providing the tool in mid-January and then having it returned in mid-February. And number 5, annual report on the superintendent, kind of compiling everything that we got from this evaluation process for the March board meeting in time for superintendent contract renewal. So that is the process that we're proposing along with the tool. So at the same time that we'd adopt the tool in August, we'd be asking us all to put the stamp of approval on the process itself. And now I will open it to some discussion. We do have, there is a presentation that we might want to pull up too. So that was the actual tool. And then here's a presentation to give you another go at looking what we did with the 8 pillars and 5 strategic plan pillars, or 8 performance standards, 5 strategic plan pillars, down to 5 metrics for our superintendent evaluation tool. So looking here, you've got the OSBA superintendent evaluation tool. It includes, the toolkit includes implementation timeline, 8 performance standards, and a goal setting guide. that's where we started. That is useful to look over. So we started there. Our focus was to adapt that tool to our district, grounded in the great work that's already happened with the strategic plan. And I'd also say that for some folks, for some districts, the evaluation of the superintendent process, even creating the tool, is a very public and time-intensive activity. We opted for not doing as much community outreach, given that we were already doing a strategic plan deep dive with the community and kind of taking community time and input. So we opted to blend that with what we were trying to do here to create a tool without as much community engagement. So we're glad to have it public here and now and have that opportunity to get any feedback that we can. Next slide would be great. All right, so our approach, like I said, strategic plan plus OSB evaluation tool. Can we consolidate? All right. So here you can see again the five pillars of our district strategic plan and the original 8 performance standards of OSBA. So again, there's nothing that's bad. It's just that there's a lot. And so the hope is that we can create a tool that is easy to use, pretty clear to understand and manageable. Go ahead, next slide. And here again, this is what I read from the actual tool, is the hybrid superintendent evaluation tool. And the only reason that I called out number 3 and was giving Thomas a hard time is because I recognize that there are 2 ands in there used differently, right? But I think what we were trying to do is take two different.
The ampersand saved you.
Yes, thank you. 2 different performance standards and put them into one related. The ampersand is combining those 2, and the and community relations it's two separate performance standards. So more could be done, but I would posit to the board like what really needs to be done. So we're happy to take feedback, and we're putting a lot into a smaller space. So is there anything else? Next slide. That might be it. All right, so that is it. I will open it to discussion, feedback, what's on top of people's minds.
Thank you for doing this, all 3 of you. This is great. It's a good start. I'm looking forward.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I see this as something we can grow, which is fun. It doesn't have to be perfect right out of the gate.
I would agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Thank you all 3 of you, for doing this. This is a lot of work, and I'm really glad to see it streamlined like this. My question is, what are the rest of us doing before the next? Are we continuing to refine this offline as the idea, or just you're taking feedback tonight and then bringing it like at the official?
Yeah, we'll take feedback offline. I would welcome any feedback from folks who are viewing this. Yep. So any feedback tonight or feedback offline, you can funnel it through us.
I just meant like review of a document, not like offline feedback in terms of general, but just if there's anything we need to be like reviewing, editing, or not.
If you want
awesome,
to,
and it's probably
not. If you want to look at those indicators, so I guess the one thing that we didn't cover in depthly is those particular indicators that will actually produce a score for the superintendent. Those are also a composite, so they don't 100% represent the OSBA tool. There were probably twice as many because there were 8 performance standards, and each of those 8 had like 5 bullet points. So we consolidated it down, tried to get 3 bullet points in 5 standards essentially. So we think less is more, but it might be worthwhile to take a look at those and say, for each area, is there something missing? Does this adequately represent and align with our strategic plan pillars? Because that's the goal, is that we're having the superintendent evaluated on what the community and the district has decided is the mission. Yeah. So at the very least, think about what we've said and then approve it in August. But if you want to do more, you dive in and read those indicators and think if there's something that should be changed or added.
Wonderful.
And thank you to Althea, because you've really led the 3 of us through all of this. So it's been very great. because I'm so new and I'm learning a lot of things.
Yeah, you're only new to the next board member. Sarah, do you have anything to add?
Thank you for that great summary. The only thing I would add is the OSBA, when we were in contact with them about this process, has recognized that their tool is excellent, very comprehensive, but also very large, and a little cumbersome. So they were very interested in our work on this and had requested us to think about presenting in the fall our new evaluation tool. And I think they're very receptive to kind of like the personalization of an evaluation tool, and also just kind of what we come up with, and if there's any components of their evaluation tool that we don't feel are relevant.
That's very cool. And can I assume you've had some feedback in on?
They've included, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We've had the opportunity to meet a couple times, so they've included me in the conversation, and what Sarah just shared, she shared last time we met, I think, so it doesn't surprise me at all. But yes, yeah.
Cool. We'll be watching you guys present, huh?
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, I said yes. I said yes. Sarah, let's do it. Thanks, Sarah. Great. Well, then with that, oh, go ahead. Nope. Okay. With that, I'm going to move us on to superintendent's report.
Great, thank you all. Happy July. Obviously, I think you noticed the agenda is fairly, I would use the word light. It's typically light in July. So my superintendent's report is going to match that. It's going to be very light. Two things I wanted to update you on. One is I have the opportunity tomorrow. Commissioner Jones-Dixon will be on this campus with us. He's taking a tour of the CTE Center with his staff and a few dignitaries from Gresham. They weren't able to come to the ribbon cutting and others, but we've been going back and forth. So finally going to be able to walk through and talk about maybe some partnerships. I know he has some ideas. So anyway, just another opportunity to brag a little bit and show off our building. So that's happening tomorrow. And then the second thing is I wanted to update the board, and I have updated the board. So this isn't real new, but there's a new component. Remember Executive Order 2606 about instructional time and student instructional time, and we're going through that process, and it's been messy, and we've been learning a lot along the way, and we calculated one way, and then we reread the instructions and understood, oh, we made a mistake here, and we redid this. Anyway, long story short, as we went through it, as of today, to our best effort and understanding of it, is we are fine as far as instructional hours except for our seniors. And right now we're 2 hours short. So it's not like days, months, it's 2 hours. So from the final schedule to start date, we'll figure that out. It's not for next year, it's for 27-28. By 27-28, we have to have it figured out. We will have it figured out next year. But just so you know, what we're reporting to ODE by the 15th, in fact, I'm ready to push send here, is that everything's fine except for seniors 2 hours. And it was not that we canceled, we didn't take furlough day, it's anything that they are kind of going after. It just has to do, and we haven't found it yet. It just has to do with some days there's 1 day more and 1 day less, and kind of the schedule and how it builds out, and conference time and final schedules, all that kind of thing. So anyway, mathematically, we are 2 hours short. We will fix that. Then the second piece I have updated this board on, I'm still very worried about, that is under current rules. Current rules, we are allowed to use 60 hours of PD time, professional development time for our teachers, and count that as instructional times. We count that now. If they take that opportunity away, if they say you cannot use the 60 hours of PD time, that is not instructional time anymore, we are no longer allowing that, then we will be under across the board, and that will be something that we need to address. I've had conversation with union leadership about that. They know that. Right now there's nothing to fix, but we know it's out there, and we aren't quite sure where it's going to land. The rule makers at the state level are wrestling with that right now. That makes sense. So those are the two things I wanted to update you on. You heard Bond. I will say, partially because of this, very concerned about the start of the school year, kind of the 9-week window of construction, and just, if we are unable to open certain schools based on this and based on what's happening, it will be going later into the summer, right? It won't be, we'll kind of just figure it out. It will be adding days, and we don't want to be there. So I know our construction team, everyone's doing their best, and we're going to be tracking it very closely. And other than that, summer school, everything seems to be going well and smooth, and can get through July, and by August we're rolling. So that's my report tonight, Madam Vice Chair.
All right. Thank you for that. Any questions on the superintendent's report? Then we're going to go to reflections on public comment.
Can I get some context to Kyle, please? From anyone? I didn't.
Kyle was a board, do you know that? Is that what you're talking about? He was a board member for many years, was board chair for many years, lives in our community. His children went through our community, graduated. Very involved community member for years and years, still is. But when he went through a program and got his education degree, he's now a teacher. And so less involved at the board meeting. He used to attend board meetings quite regularly. Again, I would use the word very involved. And what he's saying, he teaches in a different school district. It happens to be Estacada School District. And he's basically saying, hey, we do things differently. And I'd love, I think this is what he's saying, but he's saying, I'd love to share what we think is working that could work here, is what I heard him saying.
Was it a sales pitch or just like or I just want to share what I know? I couldn't tell, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how you're defining that. I don't think it was a sale. I mean, he's not nothing to sell. I think he honestly is genuinely concerned. I shouldn't put words in his mouth. I believe he loves David Douglas. I believe he's, and he wants us to be the best we can be.
Yeah.
And he thinks that there are things we should look at based on what he said tonight. Again, this is me interpreting, but yeah, I think that's what he did.
Yeah, thank you. No, it had almost an air of salesmanship to it. And I was like, is he trying to sell us something, or is he just a nice guy who wants to help? And I'm glad he's just a nice guy that wants to help. So thank you.
I would say he's very data driven too. So he is all in previous testimony comes with comments on previous data reports. So he has a deep dive and has a like an educator, but also a system level view of data. So I think that's where he was going. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
And I think it's always good to hear kind of a different systems approach. So I'm interested to. I don't really know the details. I think it's what he's asking for is that folks reach out and ask him. But systems level is clearly different in Estacada than what we're doing, which would be interesting to contrast. I mean, it always is, and we're always short of time. But to know what other districts are doing versus us is always we always get kind of insular on. I think everybody does, of course, because you don't have time in these busy days to know what everybody's doing. But I think that's what I would take from his comment.
Yeah, now that I know, I'd love to hear more. Seemed great.
All right. If there's no other reflections, then we're looking at board liaison and committee reports. I think I just wanted to use that space. You guys all saw probably an email from me. I've got meetings with human resources in our district as well as facilities coming up just in a week. So anyone's welcome to join. So just let me know and I can put you on that meeting. It's just an opportunity to meet those teams. Also, I noted that there's a CUBE conference in Chicago, October 1st through 3rd. I think in the past, folks have kind of mentioned going as a group, as a board, so I just want to put it on folks' radar. I think we get like a better deal if we sign up in the next week, but no, it's in Chicago. Any other board comments, report outs?
Althea, this is Sarah.
Yeah.
Just a comment. Is there a bad echo on your end? Is that okay?
Sounds good to us.
Okay, cool. I would love if we could just map out throughout the year some of the more impactful conferences that people have attended, and just see if we could have representation just kind of like divide and conquer among our members, or just identify for us for planning purposes for the 26-27 school year. See which conferences that are recommended for us, and kind of plan that out. If that could be on the agenda for like a workshop or something, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll start with tomorrow. I'm going to Redmond for the OSBA summer school session. There's another one on July 16th in Eugene. But I think that's a great idea. So, and just off the top of my head, I know annual convention for Oregon School Board Association is in November. I was looking at my calendar for the date. I don't have the date. But yes, I think that'd be a great, I don't know if we have one, do we have a board workshop between now and August? Probably not. Okay. So I would be looking for someone to take that on if they wanted to map out some of the just elicit ideas and suggestions from folks on what's. I know CUBE is a big one. Annual convention is a big one. Anything OSBA.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, I'm sure I'm going to volunteer someone, but I'll help. Is Lori and I could put together a little bit of a calendar. It would just be those ones that we know of. There's many, dozens and dozens. So there might be something that's drawn your attention that we don't know about, like NSBA, OSBA, kind of those conventions that we could put in a little bit of a doc to send out that this is where we're at. In fact, Lori brought it to my attention, was it yesterday or the day before, about where NSBA is, when they do open it up. And, before, usually by the end of August, we're asking the board, do you want us to start booking NSBA for you? Because everything fills so fast. So, but yeah, we will take that and get an initial draft. And if there's conferences or missing conferences from there, and you tell us about those, we will add them to them. So it could be kind of a running doc that we share out, whether it's a workshop or just open space during our next board meeting to talk about it. Either way works. Yeah.
Do we need to be members of CUBE? Because we're not, right?
I don't believe you need to be members, but I believe there's a membership, right? If you're a member, certain cost. If you're not a member, there's another cost. I haven't looked at that in a while, but we could check that. When we put it together, we'll put together what the cost is, what the dates are, membership, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that, Sarah. Anything else? All right. Well, then I think we're going to go into, I'm going to officially end the meeting. And now we're going into executive session.
Yeah.
Nope, we have to do what?
Let's make sure we turn off the mic.
I wasn't going to say anything for a while. You guys, it's safe. It's safe.